talking about women in politics. And I want to bring in Dani-Jo. Tell everybody what you had to say.
So, you know, when we're talking about inspiring women to run for politics, the first thing that came to mind for me was what woman? Because the women of color who have run in this country have been chastised, demonized. I'm thinking of Selena, I'm thinking of Mumlak, I'm thinking of Jody, and all of their experience have been extremely harmful. And I don't know that that actually inspires younger women of color looking up to their experience to run for politics. So I think there's a broader conversation here around the culture on the Hill, how we're doing to, you know, differentiate diversity and representation from belonging, from culture, from real, genuine inclusion. Do you know what I mean? I'm thinking of Annemie's experience right now. We've all witnessed how particularly difficult it's been for her as a Black woman to lead the Green Party. And so, you know, it's important to remember that women isn't a monolith and there's intersections here. And the intersections make it harder. Every layer makes it harder to experience true, you know, justice and fairness in democratic systems.
Sorry, you wanted to say something?
Yeah, I really resonate with what you're saying, Dani, because I've been on that side of the game. I really want to bounce off of what Jody was saying about, you know, party politics being very like hyper, like, you know, kind of like partisan. Exactly. Thank you. And so for that reason, my beloved friend and I did a run for municipal politics in 2018. My candidate was a Black Muslim woman. So there we go with all the intersections. And a lot of, you know, that last comment of, oh, women can rise. Well, we were told that, you know, now's the time. Like, we need more women like you. And there was a lot of that kind of sentiment, mostly from white women who let us down. They encouraged us to run. And then when we actually ran and came up with instances of racism, bullying, discrimination, Islamophobia that was affected by not just my team, but my volunteers, they didn't step in. When we were bullied by other candidates, other women candidates, other white women candidates, they didn't step in.
Not only that, but they don't even have the resources. They're
Exactly.
not provided with the resources to cope. What do you do in instances like that when you're faced with these challenges as a woman of color?
Exactly.
So then what should support look like?
Well, I would say that, like, if you're a white woman and you think you understand the experience of a woman of color, off the bat, like, that's wrong. You don't. There's no way for you to understand it. I'm still finding the words to describe my experiences with racism. There's no, and intergenerational trauma. Like, there's no language for that yet for me. So to say that you understand as a white woman the experience of people of color is just not, like, not a factual statement. And I think that's what frustrates me, and that's where we see a failure in active allyship, similar to what Sarah went through, is people being like, oh, man, that's really tough, but, you know, it was hard for us too. It's not the same. It's never going to be the same, not until we dismantle white supremacy. So.
And I also want to add, it's not the same because, like, as women of color, like, we don't come from intergenerational wealth. We don't have the same access to financial capital, the same access to social capital.
Class will play into that.
Exactly. Class is so important in running a campaign. Like, why else do you think we're run by legacy families? Like, there is something to be said about who you're connected to and what access to funding you have. If white women want to support women of color, they need to give us access to these networks and, you know, help us with some introductions, maybe help us with some fundraising.
And intervene in instances of harm.
Exactly.
Right. Use your white bodies.
Guys, I want to thank you for weighing into the conversation here.